Hey everybody, this is Flavio Romeo, and this is a special video edition of the Hawthorne Towncast. And we wanted to do this especially for our next guest because he is the teacher of media arts at the Hawthorne High School, and we wanted to give it a shot and try this via video. So if you haven't seen our other videos here on our YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. We're going to keep putting content up here. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And let's keep growing our town here. So enjoy the episode, everybody.
In my hometown, there's a railroad running through it. Like to take you there and prove it. Can I take you?
Hey, everybody, this is Flavio Romeo, and this is a video version of the Hawthorne Towncast, which we may or may not actually use the video, but we will use the audio. And I'm really excited today because I've got someone that I just became friends with over the last year of doing this podcast. And I love what this guy's doing. He works at the Hawthorne High School. I'm not going to give too much away. I want to introduce John DiLonardo, who you can call Mr. D if you're under the age of 18. And if you're over, you can call him Johnny D. Hey, John, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Sounds good. Thanks.
I really appreciate it. And I appreciate it. Now, we've had some conversations, over the last couple of months. And I thank you for including me in one of your classes. I want to talk a little briefly about what you're doing at Hawthorne High School, but I know you're not originally a Hawthorne guy, right?
No, not originally. I'm from Clifton, but been in Hawthorne since '87. So I consider myself a Hawthorne guy now.
Yeah, you're a Hawthorneite. That's
my sons grew up here, and we've lived here for a long time and just love the community.
So you grew up in Clifton, and you moved here in '87. What were you doing before you got involved in the high school? What were you doing prior to that?
Yeah, I was in the creative industry. I was an art director, creative director. I did a lot of branding. I worked for some big companies, a lot of traveling, and everything that I did in my job, I'm pretty much brought into the classroom now. So I'm sort of like, kind of brought it all down to teach them what I learned, full circle in the industry.
What ages are you teaching now?
I'm sorry?
What ages are you teaching?
Ages. I have freshman through senior, all different ages. Most of my students are upper level, juniors and seniors, upperclassmen. But it's an elective class, and I have 3 levels of that class. So I have an intro, an intermediate, and an advanced class.
Now, I remember when I was in high school, elective classes were basically the classes that you took to get the credits. And, you just did what you had to do to get through it.
Yeah.
How do you feel the students are in your class? You feel that, because there has to be those students that are really into it and those that are they just want the credit.
Well, Hawthorne High School over the past few years has gotten some phenomenal electives choices for students, really some great things. My program started in 2009. So we've been established for a little bit, and that's how we were able to kind of develop those extra or higher level classes. But I'm proud to say I have standing room only waiting for my class because It's the only digital design class in the school. So the aspiring architects or engineers or anything in design or the arts really want to be in that class, and they should be in that class to kind of learn, get a better, understanding, an upper hand on what they might be experiencing in a college or even in a job market.
So what kind of digital design? I mean, do they do CAD stuff? Is it tablet stuff?
Well, the intro class we do Adobe products like Photoshop, Illustrator.
Oh, nice.
So they're learning design, they're learning photo manipulation, raster versus pixel, and that kind of stuff. We do digital photography, and everybody's got that phone with the camera on it now. So they're always taking pictures, but we learn how to manipulate them, with Photoshop or kind of make enhancements to the photos. We also do a whole thing on cinematography and film. We do have a film class that Mr. Van Winkle teaches, so I don't go too far into that, but I talk more about the artistic approach to film and cinema.
Give me an example.
Well, like I'll do a whole thing on Alfred Hitchcock, one of my favorites. So I do like 2 or 3 films about Alfred Hitchcock. Tell everybody a little bit about his history and his background and his relationship with filmmaking, the Oscars, his phobia, fear of eggs,
Yeah.
Um, and then I'll take a couple other different directors out there, Zemeckis, whatever, and then talk a little bit about some of their films, and we'll watch them and look at them as like an artistic kind of
Very
approach.
cool.
Yeah, that's my intro class.
I'm so jealous. I had woodworking. I had to go in the wood shop.
And that's where I am. I'm in the wood shop, so I still find sawdust sometimes in the corner.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
They converted that whole shop?
Yeah, it's a fantastic space. Fantastic space. I mean, it feels like a New York City loft apartment. Big windows, and it's a great space to create. We have a beautiful Mac lab. It's just really a great space to design and be creative and use your imagination.
Well, let me know once things open up fully. I really would love to come and see it. I
Absolutely.
love the pictures you sent me of how you guys set up the whole place for the Oscars,
Yes,
the red
that's a
carpet.
that's a big time for me. I mean, I love when Oscar time comes, usually in March. We have an Oscars week where we not only set up and, I allow paparazzi to take pictures and all that. We do a school-wide voting for the top 5 categories with
Is that right?
the best picture, best supporting actor,
That's so
supporting
cool.
actress, best animated. And then the winner gets a trophy, or I should say an Oscar. We have one teacher, Miss Clifford. She's been doing pretty good. She's kind of in the running I think she's won 4 years in a row. So she's
Really?
pretty good. Yeah.
Now, is
But-
this you said school wide? You send this out school wide?
Yeah, I send it out school wide, and then usually in their homeroom class, they have a Google form they fill out. That's unanimous voting by the students in that class. And then, when night of the Oscars, I kind of keep the tallies going, and then we see who's the winner. And it's just a fun thing to kind of have a little knowledge to what the Oscars are about, what the Academy Awards are about, because a lot of students don't know what they're about.
I know we've had Oscar parties for as long as I can remember at the house, and we'd invite friends over. I remember one year the girls put out red construction paper path leading to, the family room where we had the Oscar ceremony, and everybody had their speeches,
Yeah,
but
nice.
everybody was nominated for their own thing. So in the commercials, we would interview them for their, congratulate them for their nominations. Yeah, I mean, it's if you're a movie lover, you kind of embrace those moments, and I love that you guys do that in school. That is so awesome.
Yeah. With this year, it was a little tough with, situation that's going on. So we didn't really do it this year. I did do Oscar movies, but I didn't, do a whole setup because I didn't want to promote, I want to keep social distancing going there. But hopefully next year we're going to be able to do a whole big thing again, and really kind of, be happy about announcing the Oscars are happening.
Yeah, were you surprised? Do you have any Oscar surprises?
Well, I thought this year was a pretty good distribution of awards throughout. I there's quite a few of them that I really liked, and I think they all kind of got what they needed to get to their praise.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm always kind of leaning towards one or two every year, and most of the time. I got it somewhat right, but you never know. Sometimes it just kind of there's a twist happening,
Yeah,
Like
and
this year, I wasn't sure about Nomadland. I loved it. I thought it was great, but I didn't know if it was going to be the winner.
yeah, I didn't think it was going to be the winner. Frances McDormand is always phenomenal. I mean, I love her in everything she's done.
Absolutely.
And I like the movie, but again, like you said, I didn't think that was going to be the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they extended, with the live streaming and the Netflixes and the Amazon studios. They extended the Oscar nomination process, where what the criteria, and that kind of opened it up for a lot of different type films. And I think even Promising Young Woman, crazy to even get a nomination, but I thought it was a great film.
Yeah.
Mank was like the lead contender.
Yeah.
But there were some great ones. Sound of Metal was fantastic. I thought
That was a sleeper for me. I had no idea. I watched it and I was like, wow, this was one of those nice surprises.
Yeah.
So all right. So here you are. You're teaching, and how you've been there since 2009. You said, right?
Yes.
Now COVID hits. How did you have to make those adjustments? And I know, because I know for a lot of the kids, and my heart goes out to the kids because, you know, a lot of the kids just couldn't adapt. So how was that whole process for you? How did it affect the students and the other teachers?
Yeah, it was really tough for me and my class, really reinventing
Yeah.
because it's all based on technology. My class is based on
Yeah.
technology. We're really lucky in our school to be a one-on-one school. The kids all have Chromebooks, which is fantastic. But
Wow.
unfortunately, the software I use is Adobe and not available on the Chromebook. So we had to
Oh,
kind of make adjustments. And I found online software that was very, very similar to like the Photoshop. One's called Photopea. It's free and it's online. Vector, which is replacing Illustrator. So I sort of was teaching two different lessons at the same time. So I had the remote students learning the online based software, and then the in-class students learning the Adobe products. They're very similar, and their overlap is very similar, but there's some little quirks here and there. So it was quite challenging, to kind of, you know, also critique. We do a lot
yeah.
of critiques in my class, and
Yeah.
there's a whole nother way to look at how to do a critique, and how to analyze and discuss and kind of, learn from other people's work.
Now, did you guys have like meetings internally at the high school saying, "Hey, this is what we're going to try to do," or "This is what we recommend," or was everybody kind of working on their own plan?
Yeah, everybody, we partnered up to try to, figure out what the best way to make it happen, and, really give the students the best options within that curriculum of that class that they elected to take, and really as a teacher, how to deliver that message for the curriculum in the right way without um, without making the student not get full effect of what they really needed to learn for that class. My biggest thing is, I have an intro class, and as I went through this year, a lot of these students are going to come into my intermediate class. So I need to make sure that they're going to be getting that next level
Right.
education in that digital technology. And we had to cut a lot of things out of my class because time wise, we weren't meeting with them as often as we would meet on a regular year. So we had to cut some things out. But we'll make up the time. We'll make up the time. My advanced class too. I have an honors class. Um, which we use a laser cutter. We have a fantastic, we call it a fab lab. So we have a laser cutter that actual cut out of wood or acrylic or,
Really?
yeah, it's a fantastic, piece of machinery.
Look at
Um,
this.
yeah, and we
I feel
do,
like I was cheated.
well, come on, come to my class. It's fine.
I'm going to. It's
Um,
it's the same way that adults can go back to college. I want to go back to high school. I want to be in your class.
I have to tell you, and I'm proud to say, a lot of times when we have back to school night, I have a lot of parents saying they want to take my class. And I'm like, come on. We actually tried it. Mr. Spirito, we tried to see if we could do like an adult program for, nighttime class. And it didn't work out the way we hoped.
Oh, what a
So
bummer.
it never really came up, but, maybe at some point it might happen.
Hey, you got your first student right here. I'd be
There
happy
you
for
go.
them.
There you go. There's a lot of great classes that would be great for like an adult or a nighttime class.
Yeah, and it's local. You don't have to
Yeah.
go anywhere. You can walk to the high school and
Yeah.
and enjoy the camaraderie of other parents and talk about your kids behind their backs. It's that kind of stuff.
Like a real parent does, right?
Really
So,
great. Exactly.
whoops.
And I have to tell you, I have to shout you out because I know when we interviewed Dustin Scully and we had him on the Towncast, he had nothing but raves about you. That him and his partner, they both talked about you, and oftentimes teachers don't hear that from students. Like they don't realize the impact that you've made on students once they're gone.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure to tell you that. I think you've probably heard it if you heard that
Yes.
episode of the Towncast. But he had nothing but praise for you. And,
Yeah.
and I say
Well,
that to all you parents listening. Get
yes.
your kids in there. Get your kids in here if
Yeah.
they're ready to go to high school. It doesn't matter if they're going to get into the film industry or into the creative industry. Creativity just opens the mind, and it gives you it gives kids the ability of thinking out of the box. That's the way I've always
Yeah.
looked at it.
Yeah.
Right.
And firstly, Dustin, phenomenal talent, phenomenal talent. And, you know, you could see it from a young age, you know,
Yeah, I
he's
was going to
older
ask, could
now.
you see it? Could you see it when he was in
Oh,
your class?
fantastic. Always carrying his laptop, always working on editing and filming and camera angles and putting frosting in front of a glass. So it would, I mean, just ahead of his time. He's an old soul, you know, without a
Yeah,
doubt.
totally.
You know,
Completely.
even what he likes to watch on TV or his music, and it's fantastic. Jesse as well.
Yeah.
They're really, you know, I'm not surprised where they're at now, and I know they're going to go even far further. I've always told them, when it is Oscar night and you are nominated, I would like you to remember me, send a limo for me. So I want to be, I don't have to be in front row, but I want to be up there close so I can cheer you on, because it's going to happen. It really will happen.
Yeah, you could tell the commitment and dedication they both
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to what they're doing. And again,
Yeah.
I think it's, you know, to me, it's I don't know, being a teacher is like another form of parenting. You're parenting, but you're giving them an education. And it's the parents that influence their children. So I feel like the teachers, when you have a passion for what you do and you have a love for what you do, it's like the art teachers. I remember the art teachers, Colleen Hart. I remember how much she loved what she did.
Yes, I remember Colleen Hart from the
Yeah.
neighborhood. Yeah.
Huh?
White hair. She had white hair.
I
She
think
had
she
a
was born with
banjo.
white hair.
She had a banjo and like a southern accent, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was a sweet little Southern belle.
Yeah.
But you could tell she really loved what she did. And I
Yeah.
feel like if you're bringing that passion for film and that passion for creativity to the class, it's infectious. And
Yeah.
the students that want to pick up on it
Yeah.
are going to. If you're not interested, you're just going to skate
Yeah.
through, and you're not really taking advantage. And it's a
I'll tell
shame
you
because
nothing better than a student calling me or emailing me and saying, Mr. D, I'm in a film class or I'm in a design class, and what you taught me, I'm ahead of people, or I already knew it, so now I'm like doing other things, or thank you. That's the best thing that a teacher could hear. Really,
uh,
absolutely the best.
and the fact that you're teaching Photoshop as a freshman, you're teaching freshman year at Photoshop,
Yeah.
and you have access to all of these pretty expensive suites. I mean, for someone to do it
Absolutely.
on their own, you guys are providing it to the students. And I don't think a lot of the parents realize, I know a lot of the parents don't realize, a lot of the stuff that goes on, once they're in the school. So that's why I'm glad that you were able to come on, because when I was going to school, we didn't have any tech. There was no tech. I graduated class of 80. There was no technology. And
Yes.
and that was right at the cusp of a lot of high schools were getting computers. So when I started my first year at Fairleigh Dickinson, taking a computer class, I had no idea about any of it. No clue about what was
As
going
did many others in your class, I'm sure. You
on. Yeah.
know, I mean, I tell my students, they kind of look at me like, everybody now, you're 10 or maybe you're 8 and you have a cell phone. I tell them my first job in 1982, 5 of us shared one word processor. It wasn't even a computer. It was a Wang word processor. So like, forget it. And they're like, look at me like, yeah, that there was no Apple, or we were just starting out. Like it was really all new. And then it just, blossomed.
Did you have one of those printers that had the pins that you had to line up the
Of
paper on the
course, of
pins?
course, yeah. We still had the typewriter, with whiteout and put the little, it still happened. Remember those
And, and,
typewriters?
and, and just so everybody, so for the young people that are watching, because I've had this question a couple of times, when you look at an email and it says CC, that actually means carbon copy. Because back in our day,
Yeah,
you used to put a piece of carbon paper behind what you were typing, and then another piece of paper behind that, so that you would have a copy.
wow, we're
That's
dating ourselves now. Ooh. And we had rotary phones too. Remember those things? They've been in a circle.
oh yeah. And then God forbid you had so many zeros and nines, and then you flubbed it, and your paper slipped out, and you had to start all over again.
They're collectibles now,
Yeah,
waste
yeah.
money.
That's right. So, be thankful that you have someone like Mr. D teaching at the high school, who's teaching them all the technology. And the fact you said it, everybody has phones. So teaching them how to do something more than just snap a picture.
Yeah,
Be creative, add filters, make it black and white.
yeah,
Do something a little different. I mean, I still have fun. Every once in a while, people post pictures like Like a friend of mine posted a picture of The Godfather, right? It was, it was a color photo, it was still from the movie. So I took it, manipulated it a little bit, made it look like it was taken 60, 70 years ago.
Yeah,
Sepia with some graininess, and
love it.
have fun with that. And I
Yeah.
love that you're teaching the kids how to do that.
And the kids every year are better and better and better because they're more experienced doing photography or using the apps and really kind of playing around. So, they're like sponges, and every
Yeah.
year the sponges absorb more and more. They're just getting so much information that out of my class, and then they're putting it with what they already know, and they're just soaring. It's real. They're good. They're doing
How
good.
do you stay up on all this technology?
Well, as an old guy here, I have to try to make sure I'm still
Exactly.
doing it, but I mean, I'm still a digital designer, so I still work in the industry,
Oh, you do? Okay.
freelance here and there. So I'm still dabbling in there. I still always trying to learn. I try to keep all my apps going, my Instagram, my Facebook, which is for old people, TikTok and all that. I got to know what's happening. So, I'm with it, a little bit with it. At least I try.
So are you gonna have like a TikTok segment of your class at some point where everybody's got to go out and make a TikTok video? That's the hottest thing right now.
Yeah, yeah. I do in my honors class. What we do is every week, one of the students has to do a presentation of some sort, and they have criteria, but they have to talk about the hottest app of the month, or critique a film that just came out, or talk about a gallery opening or a show. So sometimes they'll do something about a TikTok, kind of experience, something that's happening or a trend or whatever. And, I get to learn more that way too. I'm like every week I get a new thing going on and I know it's current. So, it helps me a lot, but TikTok's a big one. Yes.
That's awesome. And what would you say has been your greatest satisfaction as a teacher? Like, all the years that you've been doing it now. Oh nine, you're, what is that? 12 years? 12,
Yes.
13 years
12
almost. Yeah.
years, 12 years.
Uh,
You know,
what's been your greatest satisfaction?
Well, I started going to school. I mean, I was always the artist of my class in school. I always did the backdrops for the plays and the poster contests and all that. I mean, I was always that student artist. So
Right.
I always enjoyed it, and I wanted to do that forever. But sort of got talked out of it. You're not going to make money. You're not going to be able to support a family. So I started out going to school for teaching, and I took an art class in college as my freshman year, and the passion was still there, that as a sophomore I switched majors. I went to art, I went to design, and I came full circle because after being in the industry 27-ish years, now I am teaching, but I'm
All
teaching what
right.
I went to school for as well. I did my teaching certification separately, so it kind of makes sense where I'm teaching what I learned in the industry and what I had in my group with my team in the industry, and then I also have the art background and the teaching. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So what was it that made you stop doing what you were doing full time and get into full time teaching?
Sort of, I guess you call it burnout. I was doing a lot of traveling. It was a
Yeah.
lot of high pressure. Fantastic job, loved it. I was with one company 20 years, so almost 20 years.
Oh wow,
So really,
that's rare nowadays.
yeah, very rare, and fantastic company. And then, it just was time, like kind of, when the time is right. And, it just made sense to kind of come here, start teaching at the high school. And then, we worked on this program within the year that I was there, my first year, converted the wood shop to this fantastic studio. And, it's been really great ever since. Yeah.
And it's good. I'm thinking about it as you're talking. Converting a wood shop into a digital studio, comes at a cost, obviously. And what I love is we all pay taxes in Hawthorne, and you want to know where your tax dollars are going. It's good to hear that they're using some of these tax dollars to create studios to widen the creativity at the school. I mean, I
Yeah,
think, and I'm a firm believer that if you're teaching someone to be creative, it doesn't matter what you're teaching them to be creative at. They bring that desire to create, that creativity, to any job, no matter
absolutely.
what, whether you're you're a plumber, you're an electrician, or you're in sales, or whatever you're doing,
Absolutely.
I feel like, you know, opening those doors of creativity is huge. So
Yeah.
I love that you're doing that at the right age. You're doing it, you know, 14, 15 years old, right up through high school. And do you work with some of the students? You know, if they come to you and say, you know, Mr. D, I'm thinking about doing this, or I'm thinking about doing that. Do you talk to them about, you know, opportunities, or where they might
Yeah.
look at?
You mean for school or for career paths,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
yeah,
career or
yeah,
future schooling. Yeah.
yeah, portfolio, like you help them with their portfolios. You know, a lot
Oh,
of
so
times
you
schools,
do.
yeah, yeah, they need to have you know, a digital portfolio or a combination of elements that are going to represent them. And I work with them a lot. You know, sometimes it's a video that has to be made for them. This is the first year we worked on podcasting, and I think I told
Yay!
you that, and it was great. We used Anchor. Yeah, I did that with my intermediate, almost as like a test, because again, I'm dabbling into these new technologies and also trying to expand the curriculum to learn, for them to learn. And also with this remote teaching, you know, that's another app that is accessible to everybody. So
Everybody.
it worked out fantastic. And you were there to tell us a little bit about your, you know, your fantastic experience. By the way, congratulations on your award, by the
Oh,
way.
thank you. And you
You
were a
know?
part of it, obviously,
Yeah.
clearly. Yeah, I love that. And talking to the kids, you can tell, you know, like any other class, you can tell those that were interested and those that, you know, just yawn, you
Yeah.
know, and that's when you see, when, to me, if I don't teach, I you know, taught some classes here and there, various places, but when you see that spark in a student's eye, or you see that, like, ooh, I can get into this,
Yeah.
that has to be rewarding.
Yes. Perfect timing is tomorrow. Actually, today, I don't know, I'm not sure when this is airing, but today I just set up for the art show, the annual student art show. The other art teachers in school, at the high school, and I put together a collaboration of work. And tomorrow it'll be all day tomorrow at the high school.
So tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow's May 20th. So yeah,
May
this,
20th.
we're gonna put this
Yeah.
out. So tomorrow is the actual show.
It's the actual show on the morning. Students are able to go with some classes. They have to sign up. This year, we're doing it a little different with social distancing, et cetera. But in the
Yeah.
afternoon, from 12:30 to 3, it's open to the public. They have to come in and get temperature scanned, et cetera. And I think they'll monitor the amount of people that come in at a time. But yeah, able to walk through and see the beautiful paintings and drawings and sculpture and ceramics, as well as the digital art that my classes have done.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
I may, you know what? Maybe I'll come down and do a remote. Just do it, you know, bring my little GoPro
Yeah.
and walk around. How do you get it? Do you come in from the back or through
Come
the
in
front?
from the front of the building. I believe security will let you in. It's from 12:30 to 3 is open to like parents and families. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll
I'll be
try.
there. I'll look for you.
Yeah, yeah. I have a podcast at 1, but I should be finished by 2. So yeah, I'd love to see that. That'd be
Good,
awesome. I'm
good,
gonna write
good.
that note down right now. Art show. Take everybody's time here. And what would you say, John? What would you say your um, so, you know, you got your greatest satisfaction. What would you say your biggest disappointment is as a teacher? You know, in terms of, it could be, you know, school, it could be parents, it could be, what would you say if you had to pinpoint one?
Yeah.
Or maybe you don't have any.
You know, I'm going to say it's hard to pinpoint something in general, but I'm going to say for this year, my disappointment is that I am like the big field trip king at the high school. It's like known. I usually do 5, 6 field trips a year. And, you know, over that bridge over that water, there's so much happening that I love to get these kids exposed to like this wonderful stuff happening
Yeah,
in that Manhattan place, you know.
yeah,
I always do a trip to MoMI, to Museum of Moving Image in Astoria, Queens, the Kaufman
nice,
Studios, and we do a tour through that Jim Henson exhibition, and we do a hands-on workshop. There's props there from fantastic movies. I miss that this year. Like I miss
wow,
that. You know, we'll do the Whitney, the High Line, so many places that are there that are they're at our fingertips, and that's a disappointment for this year. You know, with COVID, you know, with this COVID thing, so many things had to be changed and so many things had to be kind of put aside. So I'm hoping that next year that's going to, all go away. We'll be able to do all those things and, visit the grounds for sculpture and, do some of these things that are really there to eye open for these students to be able to, explore, see things that are created by people that might be not much older than them and really kind of, know that they can do it too.
See, and I hope you guys watching or you guys listening, I hope you realize what a treasure this guy is. I mean, it's not, our girls were homeschooled, and my wife always took them on field trips, for that very reason, to open their minds and to experience, art from other parts of the world, not only other parts of the country, but other parts of the world, and to look at things past and to see how we've developed over the years. And that's got to be, that's tough. I mean, taking that away from you certainly, but also from the kids.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's tough, and like I said, I'm only looking to the next year where things could be available to us to do. We have to be safe and we have to do the right thing. I think I'm hoping that we could start off, in September that way, but it might take a little bit of time. I'm not sure. I mean, we also, Mrs. Fisaro, the Italian teacher at the school, and myself, about 7-8 years ago, we started the trip to Italy during spring break. So we've been taking students to Italy every year. We take probably 15 to 25 students, depending on the year, for a whole tour of Italy, and we change up the criteria. Hadn't happened 22 years prior at the high school, and then we did a whole thing with the Board of Ed, and told them how this would be a life experience for them to understand. Not only viewing the treasures of Italy, but how to pack a suitcase, how to share a room with somebody, how to
right, how to share a bathroom.
Yeah. So it's a good insight, and we couldn't do it last year, obviously, and we couldn't do it this year, but I'm hoping that picks up again.
Wow, that'd be awesome. I remember when I was in high school, I couldn't afford me going to Italy. Which I did when I went to art school. I went to art school after Fairleigh Dickinson. I went to art school, and we did end up doing an art tour. And again, when you see paintings that you see in books and sculptures you see in books, and then all of a sudden you see them, and you see some of them, the size, and both large and small. I mean, you see the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa is one of the most recognizable images on canvas. And then you go to see it in real life. It's like, oh, well, that's underwhelming. Or the Last Supper. That's another one. The Last Supper, you picture the Last Supper to be, 8 feet long. And it's, I think it's priceless. It's priceless. And you couldn't pick a better country, of course. And they're going to eat well. They're going to eat real well.
Absolutely, they're going to eat well. We in gelato. Some of them have gelato 3 times a day. I was like, we go for gelato.
You should also. I don't know if you've ever thought about it, but Cinecittà, which is the Italian studio in Italy. See if you can create. Have like one day where they'll take everybody on a tour of Cinecittà.
Where is that? You got to tell me where that is.
We passed it. We were driving. I'm pretty sure it's south of Rome, somewhere between Rome and Sicily.
Okay.
But I remember because we drove the whole country.
Okay.
And I remember passing it. I was like, that's Cinecittà. And anytime you watch any Italian film, you'll always see that in the credits.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, but that would be awesome to combine that.
That's good. Well, we've done agriturismo, we've done, mozzarella making, we've done pasta making.
Nice.
We went to Perugia with chocolate. We've done, we always make it cultural. We want to see the sights, but we also want to make them learn and see how other people live. We always visit a school, so they get to see how Italian students are that are their same age, and they always end up with, Instagram friends when they leave, and, connections and people that still connect to these people in Florence or Rome or wherever.
That's cool.
Yeah. We always have a good time with them and tell them, this is happening while you're in Hawthorne. This is happening over in Florence, and your friend now, it's the same as you, just speaks a different language. But
right. And the thing is, if you communicate over the years, you never know when
Yeah.
they come to America or you
Yeah.
go over there, at least you
Yeah.
have a friendly face.
Yeah, we've had students who had studied abroad a few years later when they were in college that had gone on our trip, and then the timing was right, and we met them for dinner, and here we are
Oh,
with
wow.
high school Hawthorne students, and then we have a former Hawthorne student with us. So it's always a really a good thing, a nice fun thing.
That's awesome. Well, since we got on the subject of films, I'm going to ask you real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. And I know, I tell people all the time, like, I'm sure you also get the question, what are your top 5 films? For me, I don't know how you feel, but for me, it's almost impossible. It is impossible to give your top 5 films unless you break it down by genre,
Yeah.
because there's so many films and there's so many different types of films. I mean, you can't compare Casablanca with The Godfather or Goodfellas with Tommy Boy. You know what I mean? You just can't. It's a different genre. So if you had to pick your favorite black and white comedy, do you have one? Does anything come to mind?
Well, a black and white, like I think old film or older film,
Yeah.
but and I'm gonna always say a comedy. I'm always just saying Abbott and Costello is gonna be my lead there. But I'm gonna tell you a good black and white film actually won Best Picture not too long ago. The Artist.
The Artist was phenomenal.
Fantastic. I mean, it was made to feel older, black and white. A lot of
Love
times
that
when
movie.
I show that to my class, sometimes when I say it's a black and white film, their heads go down.
I know,
Black
I
and
know.
white. I'm telling you, you're gonna love it, and they all do. They all do love it. So The Artist to me is one there. But Abbott and Costello, you can't beat for a comedy. Forget it.
Yeah.
It's them.
Yeah, and that's when the girls were growing up, I started them with the foundation of comedy. So they knew who Burns and Allen was. They knew the Marx Brothers, Laurel and Hardy, Buster Keaton, Abbott and Costello, and and they grew up on all that. What I would have to say for me, one of my favorite comedies, which is always a go-to, we'll watch it maybe once a year with the kids, is Bringing Up Baby with Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn. That was one of my favorites. So what would you say, black and white drama, if you have one?
Uh, it's so tough. Drama. I don't know. I'm probably going to go with psychological thriller of psychological thriller from Alfred Hitchcock. It's going to have to be.
Yeah.
I want to say Rear Window. It's probably
So good.
Yeah, I'm going to say Rear Window.
And Jimmy Stewart was just, and you kind of take it for granted that he was sitting in a wheelchair. It's not easy to act in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
When you're especially if you're used to physical acting. I mean, you watch him do It's a Wonderful Life when he's doing the dance,
Yeah.
on the pool floor.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Alfred Hitchcock by far. I'm kind of a sentimental, and maybe you put it as a love story, but I love Casablanca. That's been a favorite for a long time. And now mafia movies.
Well, Goodfellas, come on, Goodfellas, and I could recite it. My friends and I do it all the time. I mean, there's nothing like Goodfellas to me, but
Yeah. I like Godfather 1. I have to say I like Godfather 2 better. And if the Hawthorne Theater wasn't opening up Memorial Day weekend, I would try to book it again for Godfather 2.
Yeah.
What about sports movies? Do you have any favorite sports movies?
I want to say Remember the Titans. I mean, I think Remember the
That was good.
Titans or Friday Night Lights. They're probably up there. Sorry, my phone is ringing.
Yeah, I like The Natural.
Nice, good.
Robert Redford.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I liked Sandlot.
Excellent.
That was such
Excellent.
a sweet film.
Yeah.
And if we go back, I'm a big Pride of the Yankees fan.
Okay, another good one.
The fact that you could see Babe Ruth on screen
Yeah.
is doing something other than hitting home runs.
Sandlot, when my boys were younger, that was one that they watched over and over and over again. That one in Home Alone, like, was kind of, at that time I could probably recite the dialogue from that.
Yeah. Well, John, listen, I can't thank you enough for coming on the Towncast. I'm glad that the parents listening, and hopefully you get some of the teenage kids listening, that you've inspired them a little bit to at least come and check out your class, because again, being able to offer this kind of creativity and opening these windows that you're not going to get it on your own, and you taking the field trips and going into the city or going into Queens and experiencing all that. A lot of these kids, that they're not going to have those opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I personally want to thank you for doing what you do. Hopefully we can get Mr. Van Winkle on. It'd be nice
Absolutely.
to be nice to hear from him as well.
That's the movie guy. He's the movie guy.
He's the movie guy.
Yeah.
Right. But I want to thank you. Don't go away. I'm gonna sign off, and then we'll chat a little bit more.
You got it. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks everybody for listening. And if you did get a chance to see us, if we do put this on our YouTube channel, and you did get a chance to see us, please like us, subscribe. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter, which I don't even know how to use Twitter. Maybe one of your students can help me with the Twitter.
Probably. We'll
If you have a
get it
social
ready.
media expert in school, have them contact me. But I want to thank everybody for all your support, and it's a labor of love. I really enjoy it. So stay tuned, everybody, for the next one.